Facebook feeling the heat after the release of an investigative report by UK lawmakers calling the social media company digital gangsters. The report calling for regulation after the spread of fake news during both the U.S. presidential election and UK Brexit vote back in 2016, as well as the infamous Cambridge Analytica data scandal last year. Early Facebook investor Roger McNamee also weighing in on the report on CNBC earlier today.
If you believe that there isn't going to be any kind of regulatory pressure on the company, nothing, the UK thing is just talk, right? It's not actual change. If that's the worst of it, then the stock is absolutely priced properly and, may even still be a value here.
Shares of Facebook ending flat today, but are up 24% this year. So will regulation become just a reality? Is it just tough tech talk? Karen, is this a concern of yours here?
It's sort of a concern, but I mean, when you look at the stock, when you look at the earnings that they put up last time, and you look at where the stock is trading, right? As we know, it's sort of the poster boy for bad behavior for social media. However, I think that's getting to be an old story now. And we saw the EU GDPR, right? Could we see something in the UK? Yes. Could we see something here? We could. I think that'll be hard for Congress to get together and do some legislation there, but it could happen. It absolutely could happen. All of that, though, I think is priced in already. If we were to remove that cloud, if we knew with certainty how much they would have to pay or what regulation would cost, let's say it were fines instead of regulation, then I think the stock would lift a lot. I think it's priced in. And I think them being the poster child for bad behavior is starting to fade as a story. And that's been weighing on the stock.
Are you comfortable, Karen, with your sense of understanding what the costs are going to be for these guys to continue to basically make their platform safe?
No, but I think the market is giving them an excessive penalty of what the cost could be. I think it would be less. I think the stock would be much higher. Okay. We don't know, right? We've seen their costs go up and up as they add more people to the content. That hasn't mattered to the earnings, though. That hasn't mattered.
But a company that can't tell you what their costs are is a company that's going to trade at a discount. And I would argue that Facebook traded at a discount.
Oh, she thinks it already does.
It does, right. I think it does. For this kind of growth, for this kind of, for this margin business, it absolutely trades at a discount.
But it traded at a discount for 2 years. So I would argue that even before some of the worst of the news happened. Look, we have not seen any material fall off in terms of their ad revenue or in terms of the usership of the platform. We know that they're trying also to change their metrics. How are we looking at Facebook? Well, let's face it. If anyone can blow you away with their sheer numbers in terms of absolute, MAUs, DAUs, whatever you want to call it, Facebook is not going to go away quietly. But what multiple do you want to put on a management team that every time seems to be chasing the news flow? Every time they're telling us they're sorry. Every time they're telling us they don't know its cost, but they're going to come back to us. This is not a stock I want to own. It's not a stock that I think can outperform, and I think it's rallied back nicely. I don't know what else you do with it here.
Oh, I think it could outperform. I mean, we've already seen the earnings that are done pretty well. The biggest catalyst and or risk, depending on how you look at it, for Facebook right now is the integration of their different platforms of WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. If they can execute on that and they can increase their metrics, that actually might be really good. And then the stock is underpriced and or undervalued. If they don't execute on it, and all of a sudden they start using losers losing users or using losers, I guess you can do it either way.
Well, they have been using losers. That's the problem.
But the point is they start losing users on WhatsApp or any of these because people don't want to log on to Facebook. That could be a problem. So I think there's a lot of outperformance in this stock. That being said, if they don't do it right, it could be a lot of underperformance. It's a good trading stock at this point in time.
Let me ask you a question, Tim. If Sheryl Sandberg were to leave, which I'm not saying is on the table at all.
I like this question.
Right? I'm not saying it's on the table.
You know what the question
is. If it were to be the case, is that a positive or a negative for the stock?
I think the management team trades at a discount. So whoever it is, and she's, because Mark Zuckerberg's not going anywhere. He owns the company.
Right.
And even though she's a major stakeholder as well. And I don't really, because I don't know who's leading the direction and ultimately who should be responsible for the strategy in terms of how they've handled security on their site. I don't know if it's her. And so, ultimately, who is the person to blame? But I can tell you this management team in aggregate trades at a discount. And companies that deserve great multiples are ones where we actually give the management team
if they're going to oust somebody because of what's going on, it's got to be Sheryl Sandberg and not Mark Zuckerberg. But what is the answer to your own question?
I'd rather have her there than not.
Oh,
I would. Right.
Higher or lower?
I think if she left, obviously the reason matters, but I'll play the game. She left, I think the stock goes down. And the stock right now is trading 162. So let's just play the game quickly. When Zuckerberg testified in front of Congress, I think it was March of last year-ish, stock was about 158 or so. So it's effectively a lot of permutations up and down. It's basically flat over the last year. I'm sort of more in Tim's camp, though. Last quarter said, despite what advertisers want, I'm sure many advertisers would love to go someplace else. There's no place else for them to go. And Facebook hasn't lost anybody. But if the news flow continues to work against them, hopefully I shouldn't say that, somebody will emerge that will take somewhat of the reins away. And I think Facebook could trade lower again. It hasn't really traded all that great since that 170 print post-earnings.